Uh, we're live here on YouTube. We're going to go live on Facebook. And going to talk about a couple of issues today. One is Ambassador Yovanovitch. These are professional people, first of all. And it's hard for me to understand why they would think because they're in an ambassadorship that they should remain there when administrations change. They shouldn't. In fact, I don't think Republicans go far enough in removing people like they do when the Democrats come in. They fire all Republicans, black, white, green, purple. If you're a Republican, you're gone. It's like they hate us, and that's okay. I can deal with that. These people are hateful, mean-spirited. They're not good for the country. I think that's why I've never been a Democrat, because I just don't think they're good people or that they're good for the country. So they could never really dupe me. And I got now we have the Facebook up. So we have Facebook and YouTube, and I want to cover just a couple of things. We are not out on Red State today. Technical issues, so I decided to go ahead and do the show anyway. But Yovanovitch actually thought President Trump, in his remarks when he had the transcript, he said that some things are going to happen to her. So what did that mean? Well, it meant that she was gone. She should have been gone. But these people are fired all the time, and they come back to state and they get another job doing something, innocuous, State Department people. So you never really, Ukrainian interview, here it is. I have that interview. I've read it numerous times. And Ms. Yovanovitch actually thought that the prosecutor for Ukraine was not.
My son needs this drug.
Well, she said he wasn't.
I hope it doesn't cost too much.
Because people.
I hope my insurance pays for it. Can you tell me how much this will be?
So, 67.
Sorry.
Wait, have you heard about GoodRx? GoodRx finds free coupons to help you save up to 80% on your prescriptions.
Wow. I had no idea.
GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions.
I've read it again. And I just don't see any quid pro quo. But there is evidence of Joe Biden clearly being conducting a quid pro quo when he says, guess what? I'll be here for 6 hours.
This is a CBS News special report. I'm Gail King with Anthony Mason and Tony DeCopo here in New York. The White House has just released a transcript of President Trump's July 25th phone call with Ukraine's president.
In that call, the president asked for an investigation of Democratic presidential hopeful Joe Biden and his son Hunter, who used to be a director of a Ukrainian oil company. A whistleblower report related to that phone call led House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to open a formal impeachment inquiry.
A Justice Department statement this morning mentions the intelligence community's inspector general who investigated the whistleblower complaint. It says in part, the inspector general's letter cited a conversation between the president and Ukrainian President Zelensky as a potential violation of federal campaign finance law. Jeff Begay and other reporters were allowed to see the phone call transcript this morning. Jeff, this was a July 25th call. It was about 30 minutes in length. What did you see in that transcript?
Yeah, we didn't get a lot of time with the transcript. We weren't allowed to take it outside of DOJ, but we took some of the inserts. We took notes. This was a 5-page document. And, you know, as you might imagine, it starts out like any other call with a foreign leader would start. There's a congratulations on the election victory. But President Trump did allude to Europe not doing enough to help Ukraine. But then he seems to veer into the DNC server. He mentioned CrowdStrike, which is a company that investigated.
I'm trying to download. I should get a copy of this thing. It's just gotten away from me for some reason. And but he said that some things are going to happen to her. Now, is she trying to say that she thought the president implied she was going to be killed? That something was going to happen to her like that? No, he just replayed her. And rightfully so. She was a never Trumper. She was an Obamaite. She was a Hillaryite. She's a Democrat who, these people are weak sisters. They want to give away this country. They wanted to manage the transition of America's demise. How crazy is that? I was part of managing the transition of America's decline. That's what she can tell her grandchildren, her your grandmother, your great-great-grandmother was part of the demise of America and the transition of America to the Chinese state. Really? Okay. Man, I tell you, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make it up. As I was saying, you know, reality and facts are much more interesting than fiction. That's why I don't read fiction. You know, it's somebody's imagination. I like the real thing. But as I'm sitting here trying to find out that exact wording, and then that doesn't look like I'm going to come up with it before this segment's over. It's just amazing that we have these people who continue to castigate the president, continue to lie on the president because they don't like him. They need to get over it, is what they need to do. It's time for them to get over it because he's our president and he's going to be reelected by landslide. And they talk about, oh, the popular vote. We need to go to the popular vote. So, is that the only way you can win? Yeah, but they'll win any way they can, anytime they can. That's what they do. Let's see. I'm going to go here and I'm going to play something for you that I haven't. I want to play Adam Schiff talking about the releasing the. I had to laugh because this guy is such a camera hawk. Talking about releasing the transcript and what the witnesses had to say.
Review those transcripts. Totally outrageous. There are a few things that will become immediately clear when you do. And the first is that contrary to the claims of the president and his acolytes on the Hill, that these have been proceedings in which the Republicans have not been able to be present or ask questions. In fact, Republicans were present for all of these depositions. And in fact, they had equal opportunity with Democrats to ask questions. And you will see they took full advantage of those opportunities to ask questions. You will see in Ambassador Yovanovitch's testimony what a dedicated public servant she is. This is someone who served the country with distinction for decades. It is someone who also is one of the first witnesses to this irregular back channel that the president established with Rudy Giuliani and the damage that it was doing to America's national security and foreign policy interests. How it was working in opposition, not in support of U.S. policy objectives. Ambassador Yovanovitch had a well-earned reputation as a fighter of corruption. And she was working with Ukraine to get Ukraine to fight corruption. And so what does this irregular back channel sanctioned by the president do? It seeks to remove someone fighting corruption in Ukraine. by employing a vicious smear campaign, which the State Department at the highest levels acknowledged had no merit whatsoever. That smear campaign, orchestrated by this irregular channel, was successful in removing a U.S. ambassador and tarring her reputation. Of course, you see the president's comments about the ambassador in the call record. We also released the testimony today of Ambassador McKinley, another career diplomat and public servant, someone who was asked by the Secretary of State to come back and assist the State Department at a very difficult time for the department.
Tomorrow we'll hopefully have the system up and running.
And what is so striking about his testimony is the degree to which he sought to get the State Department to issue a support for its own ambassador, and how those repeated efforts were rebuffed.